Eliza. If it weren't for the fact I'm so excited Lila is home for spring break, I'd probably be angrier at being summoned to my papa's office at such short notice. Not that it would matter if I voiced my anger to Papa. His word is the law, and there's no arguing with him. I hasten my footsteps through the house toward Papa's study, which sits at the back of the house with the best views over the beautiful grounds. My burritos are now wrapped up in a bag over my arm, probably soggy as hell, as I had to abandon my lunch with Lila at our favorite Mexican restaurant downtown when I got an urgent call to meet him in his study 40 minutes ago. He expected me to be somewhere in the house, waiting to come to him at a moment's notice. When I told him I was downtown, he wasn't thrilled. I'm 24 years old, for fuck's sake. And yet I still have no freedom, but my two younger brothers can do whatever they want, when they want. The study door is shut when I arrive, and I draw in a deep breath, trying to calm the irritation bubbling beneath the surface of my skin. It's never a good idea to face Papa when angry. I push open the door. "Buenos dias, Papa," I say as I enter. My footsteps falter as I notice a man standing by the window, staring out of it. His back is toward me, but he makes no move to turn around at my arrival. "Buenos dias, mi amor." He nods to the empty seat opposite him. "Take a seat." I swallow hard, glancing over at the man who still hasn't turned. "Are you well?" I ask. It's crazy that meeting Papa can make me nervous, but he has this stare that can stop most people's hearts. We've never had a close relationship. He's too busy with work most of the time to bother with me or my siblings. "Very well," he smiles. "I have some exciting news for you. However, I'm afraid it means you won't finish your silly medical school." Silly. The blood drains from my face as I stare at Papa, wondering if I heard him right. I worked my ass off to get into medical school at the University of Chicago, since he wouldn't allow me to study in any other city. My head spins as it feels like he ripped the rug right out from beneath me. "Are you serious?" I ask, shaking my head. "I've worked so hard to—" "Silencio," he growls, eyes blazing with rage. I don't get how he can be the one that's angry right now. He clears his throat. "You are to marry, mi amor." His use of the endearment, my love, feels unnatural, as he's never shown me an ounce of affection. "Marry?" I scoff, hardly able to believe that this asshole is telling me I will not complete my studies because I have to get married. How does that affect my studies? His eyes narrow. "You know that the kind of man you will marry doesn't need a doctor as a wife." His jaw clenches. "You knew this day would come at some point." He shrugs. "The wedding will be in 2 months. Unease sweeps over me as I glance at the man standing by the window again, whose back is rigid. Is he the man I'm supposed to marry? I'm almost scared to ask the next question on the tip of my tongue. "Who am I marrying?" He clears his throat. "Adrik Volkov." Volkov? A Russian? It's hard to believe that my papa has chosen a Bratva member to marry his eldest daughter. I'd always suspected this day would come, but assumed I'd be hitched to some big shot from Mexico. The man standing at the window turns around, and it feels like my heart stops beating in my chest at the sight of him. His unique hazel eyes find mine instantly, sending a shudder right down the center of my spine. If a look could chill someone's blood, then the way he's looking at me would be it. Those eyes are so cold and devoid of all emotion, as an unkind smirk twists onto his lips. Adrik's eyes move down the length of my body, even while I'm sitting in a chair, taking me in objectively before returning to my face. He's handsome, unbelievably so, but there's something unnerving about him. He has dark hair cut short and well-styled, and his facial hair is impeccably kept. The navy blue suit he's wearing hugs his muscles like a second skin, and it's hard not to notice the tattoos on his neck, just visible between the open collar of his dress shirt. "It's lovely to meet you," he says, his voice heavily accented and deep. It has a rich and sinful tenor to it that makes me clench my thighs together. I swallow hard as there's something not quite right about his eyes. They're an odd shade of hazel with flecks of blue, but it's not the hue that isn't right. It's the cold and calculated expression within them that makes them almost otherworldly and not quite human. "Eliza," Papa says, clearing his throat, "don't forget your manners." I swallow the bile that has risen up my throat. "Sorry, it's a pleasure to meet you," I say, despite wanting to tell Papa to fuck off and stick his engagement up his ass. I know that speaking out of turn in front of a guest would be unwise. He smiles then. But it's not kind. It's calculated and cold, like everything else about him. I'm sure we'll make a wonderful couple. He glances at Papa. She more than lives up to my expectations. He sounds like he's talking about a breeding mare he's considering purchasing at auction, and it makes my stomach churn. "Good," Papa says, unfazed by the way this conversation is going. "In 2 months, Eliza will become Mrs. Eliza Volkoff." He gives me a stern glare. "Now I'd like you to give Audric a tour of the grounds. It would be good for you both to get to know one another a little before the wedding." Great. The last thing I want to do is show this guy around our garden in awkward silence, but I'm not stupid enough to believe Papa will let me out of this if I refuse. "Okay," I reply, glancing at the man who is apparently now my fiancé. "Follow me." I turn toward the door. "And Eliza," Papa says, stopping me in my tracks. "What?" I ask, glancing over my shoulder. "Behave." He glares at me. I clench my jaw as anger coils in the pit of my stomach like a viper ready to strike. I'm 24 years old, not fucking 6. Instead of acknowledging his warning, I march out of his office and assume Audric is following. Once I'm in the corridor, I check over my shoulder to see he is indeed following me with a whisper of a smirk on his lips. "What are you smirking about?" I ask. He arches an eyebrow. "Nothing." He takes 2 strides to my next 4 to catch up with me, and I feel his eyes on me. "Does your father always speak to you like that?" "Like what?" I ask, meeting his gaze and wishing I hadn't, as a shudder races down my spine. "Like a child." I clench my jaw again. "Pretty much. The grounds are this way." I lead him down the back corridor toward the exit out onto the veranda. There's no way in hell I want to marry this man. He gives me the creeps, even from the way he speaks and the way he looks at me. I fear him, and that's never a good sign. "I'm not sure why Papa wants me to give you a tour. There's not much to see. It's a hectare of parkland." I glance back at him. "Not much to see?" he asks, sounding amused. "There are millions of things to see in nature. It's the most complex part of our world, buzzing with life." I release a frustrated sigh. "Right, but I mean, it's all the same. The lake is perhaps the most interesting." "Then take me there." There's something edging his tone. Dominance, perhaps? I swallow the bile rising up my throat and nod, taking the left-hand path that leads down to the lake at the bottom. Audric remains by my side, a little closer than I'm comfortable with. As the sound of birds singing fills the awkward silence, I realize that I've never felt at such unease with another human being in all my life. It's as if he radiates darkness and danger. Trust Papa to pick the most unnerving man in Chicago to be my husband. I've met all kinds of scumbags growing up as the princess of the cartel, but this guy is something else entirely. I didn't realize my papa had an alliance with the Volkov Bratva, I say, trying to break the heavy silence. I feel his eyes move to me, and it sends a shudder through me. He doesn't. My brow furrows as Audric doesn't expand on his comment. If he doesn't have an alliance with the Volkov Bratva, then why the fuck is he marrying me off to one? I don't understand. He stops then, forcing me to come to a stop too. I don't believe you need to understand, Eliza. The way he says my name makes goosebumps prickle over every inch of exposed skin. All you need to do is accept that I'm to be your husband. I nod in response. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. His jaw clenches, eyes turning darker as he steps even closer. I swallow hard as he crowds my space, sucking all the oxygen from the air, even here outside. My heart pounds harder and faster as I look into those unique eyes which out here have more of a hint of blue than hazel, knowing that my life is going to be hell as this man's wife. I will not tolerate being spoken to in that way by you once we're married. He clenches his fists by his side. Perhaps learn some respect now. I bite the inside of my cheek and nod, as it's all I can do. The fear he inspires in me is like nothing I've experienced before. Normally, I'd give an asshole like him a smart retort, but the look in his eyes warns me against it. If I'm going to survive this man, then being a brat won't get me anywhere. He grabs hold of my hips, making the air escape my lungs in a whoosh. How about we practice? He tilts his head. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I swallow hard, searching those eyes, and nod. Say it, he growls. Yes, I understand. His eyes narrow. Yes, sir. Motherfucker. This man is something else, and yet I know that if I deny him, I'm going to make my life more difficult. We're not even fucking married yet. Yes, sir, I grit out. He tightens his grip on my hips painfully for a few moments, making me wonder what he's going to do. Finally, he releases me and nods. Good. He gestures up the path. Carry on the tour. His voice is even and detached, as if he didn't just growl at me in anger or grab me forcefully. I walk a few steps ahead of him, leading him further down the path toward the lake, wishing I wasn't so afraid of this man. A prickle of awareness races down my spine with every step I take. I have always been a good judge of character. My sister says I can detect what someone is like within minutes of meeting them, and I'm more often than not correct. I hope, beyond hope, that with this man, I'm wrong. Because the man walking behind me is no man at all. He's a monster, if my instincts are correct. And I've barely seen the true darkness that lies within. Beautiful, innocent, breakable. The three words that came to my mind when I set eyes on my bride-to-be. There's a thrill I feel at the fear sparking in her irises every single time she looks at me, and the way she shudders when I speak. I bet if I wrapped my hands around her throat and squeezed, I'd feel her heart race beneath my palm. It appears Eliza can detect a beast when she meets one, unlike most of my worthless family. All of them underestimate me as a drunk and a waste of space, but that's exactly what I want them to think. It's my greatest illusion, one that's going to ensure my rise to power in this shithole of a city, one that will ensure my family's downfall if all goes to plan. Some would say that I'm dead inside, and perhaps they're right. Most people don't want to ruin their own family, but I'm not most people. I've never been like others, at least not since I can remember. I see everything differently, like a puzzle that needs to be solved. Emotion doesn't come into it. Ever since I told Eliza to respect me, we've walked in tense silence. Our pounding footsteps and her heavy breathing are the only thing falling between us. I like silence, and always have, but it's not the best way to get to know more about my wife-to-be. Do you like Chicago? I ask, breaking it. Her brow pulls together. Not particularly, but Papa never lets me leave. She blows out an irritated breath. Do you like ruining people's dreams? A rather direct question. I can't help but smirk at her. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Her expression turns irritated. Papa made it clear I can't finish my studies because the man I'm marrying doesn't want a doctor as a wife. Maybe this girl has more spark than I first believed. That was your father's assumption, and it isn't correct. I don't care what you do. You may continue your studies if you wish. Her eyes narrow, as if she doesn't believe me. And after that, I can work at the hospital for my residency? Working is a different kettle of fish entirely. Well, discuss it when the time comes. I glance away from her, signaling the discussion is over. A residency differs from medical school, but in all honesty, it will be best to keep her out of my way most of the time. I'm not the kind of man that wants a wife hanging around the house, annoying me. The lake we had been walking toward comes into view. We're here, she says, speeding up her footsteps toward the edge. I find Eliza interesting. She knows when to pick her fights, as I could sense it went against her every instinct to call me sir, and yet she knew the danger it would pose to disobey me. Do you come down here often? I ask, stopping next to her at the edge of the vast lake. I notice a number of colorful fish swimming beneath the surface of the crystal-clear water. There's a calm and serene sense surrounding the entire area, so much so it's hard to believe we're still in Chicago. Not as often as I'd like. She glances at me then. Her dark brown eyes are full of uncertainty. I'm often too busy studying. I sigh. Life is always too busy. It'll pass us all by too fast. Her brow pulls together. How old are you? The question seems odd and rather out of nowhere. 24. Her eyes widen. Really? Yes. What did you expect me to say? She shakes her head. You seem older than 24. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment. In what way? Eliza stares out over the surface of the lake, and I think she will not answer. And then she looks at me. You seem commanding, like a man of more years, is all. She shakes her head. I wouldn't have believed we were the same age. I like her answer. It means it was a compliment. I agree, we don't seem the same age. Although Eliza is relatively mature, she has this innocence surrounding her. My family is so fucking ignorant, they think I act like a child. But little do they know that it's my ploy to make them look the other way. I'm a chameleon when I'm with them, changing my skin so that they don't see the truth. For years, I've been scheming against them, and all of them believe they're smarter or better than me. Hernandez, Eliza's father, is just as fucking stupid. The Don believes that I have a means to blow all 3 mob families of the city out of the water, leaving him as the only one standing. I run a hand across the back of my neck, reveling in the way everything is coming together as I planned. A silence falls between us as we watch the fish swim below the surface, and I'm thankful that my fiancé isn't a woman of too many words. Either that, or I just make her nervous. I think we should talk about expectations. I turn toward her stiffly. Expectations? She asks, turning to look at me. As she does, the sun catches her skin in the most iridescent way, making it look almost golden. Her dark eyes sparkle, and I feel the breath from my lungs escape me for a moment as I'm bowled over by her utter beauty. It's rare that a woman's beauty can surprise me, so I guess I could have done worse than her for a wife. She will be fun to break. Yes, for you as my wife, I clarify. Her tongue darts out across her bottom lip, drawing my attention to them. They're full and thick, and for the first time in my life, the idea of kissing doesn't seem so revolting. I have always been different, and some would say odd. The touch of other people makes my skin crawl. A shudder races up my spine as countless times I've had to allow prostitutes near me, touching me in front of my family. It's part of the act that has them all fooled. I don't mind touching others, but I hate to be touched, and have done since I was little. When I fuck, I like my women restrained so they can't touch me, and so that they are at a far enough distance so they can't kiss me. A shudder races down my spine at the thought, and I find it odd that Eliza's lips look so enticing right now. What expectations are those? She asks, drawing me back to the present. You'll provide me with an heir, and you'll keep out of my way most of the time. I hold her gaze. This isn't a love match, and I won't be loving to you. My jaw clenches at the way her nostrils flare. It's a business deal and nothing more. Eliza just nods, which surprises me. Of course, I expect nothing more. It's a mature response from a level-headed woman. She turns then and gazes out over the lake for the second time, leaving me watching her in awe. At least she's not one of these hysterical women. It appears she knows when to fight and when to accept her fate, a quality that will benefit her and me. However, she can't understand what life truly has in store for her in the next few weeks. Her resolve will be tested and pushed to the limits. My plan heavily involves her. She's the key to the castle that I intend to snatch from underneath Hernandez's nose. It's risky and, some would say, crazy, but I've weighed up the risks and know the rewards are far greater. A new dawn will soon run the Estrada cartel's operations in North America. I intend to claim the crown and bury Hernandez 6 feet under. He won't see it coming. The man is too sloppy and blind to the truth. As I watch Eliza, I wonder if she's smarter than her father. After all, her reactions to me show she fears me, which is smart indeed. Shall we head back up to the house? She looks at me. I nod in response. Yes, I have many things to do. Like continue plotting the downfall of your family and everyone you love? Little does Eliza know the true extent of the darkness I harbor within. I don't know whether it's a darkness I was born with, or whether it festered and grew as I got older after the incident I endured at 6 years old. All I know is that day broke something inside of me. A part of me forever changed that could never be fixed. As do I, she says, leading the way up the path back toward the house. I can't help but let my eyes wander down to her full ass and feel a twinge of something low in my gut. Desire, perhaps? It's something I'm not used to experiencing. Sex has always been an outlet for rage and dominance. I enjoy hurting women and taking whatever the fuck I want from them. It gives me a kick that I can't get from anything else, and often desire doesn't come into it. I ignore that tingle at the base of my spine and follow her through the tree-lined path back toward the house. Once we're almost back, she stops suddenly, and I crash into her. What is it? I ask, setting my hands on her hips. She shudders at my touch, shaking her head. Nothing, I just thought A gunshot rings out, and I drag her to the floor, my heart beating at 1,000 miles an hour. Who the fuck is shooting at us? Eliza laughs, making my brow furrow. Relax, Adric. It's my brother hunting. She nods to a clearing in the trees to our left, where Tiago is holding a gun and pointing it in the opposite direction. It's at that moment I realize her hand is on my chest. Tightness constricts around my lungs as I push her hand off of me and stand, brushing the leaves and dirt from my suit. She looks frustrated as I don't offer her help to get back up. Most men would offer her help, especially since I'm the reason she's on the floor. However, it's best Eliza learns sooner rather than later that I'm not like most men. Thanks, you ruined my dress, she says, jumping to her feet. I clench my jaw as I glance at the muddy stains on her cream floral dress. I'm sure your father will buy you a new one. Her nostrils flare, and when our eyes meet, there's rage burning in them. Maybe you should be the one to buy me a new one, since you ruined it. She crosses her arms over her chest, drawing my eyes to her full cleavage, the same tingling igniting deep in my stomach and making me feel uneasy. Is that the way you should speak to your future husband? I ask, my voice cold and detached. Eliza shudders again, shaking her head. It was good meeting you. Can you find your way back to my papa's study? I narrow my eyes. Of course. She nods and then marches away from me in a rage, without another word. Perhaps I underestimated her. She has some fight burning deep inside of her. I sense Eliza is smart, far smarter than her father. She knows when to pick her battles and when to walk away, which will make her a formidable opponent. However, once she is mine, I will utterly destroy any fight she has and leave her a shell of the woman she once was. Eliza has no chance against a monster like me. Eliza. Lila curls up at the foot of my bed and shakes her head. I can't believe he's marrying you off. I arch a brow. What did you think my fate was going to be? She sighs. I hoped that since he agreed to you going to medical school, you were finally going to break this bullshit tradition. She sighs heavily. After all, if you're being married off, then it's only a matter of years until I am. She shudders. I'd rather claw my eyes out. I chuckle. How will you avoid it? I ask, propping myself up on my arm. She sighs, getting a far-off look. I'll commandeer a boat and sail the world, looting like a pirate, and hell never find me. She sets her hand dramatically on her chest. I'll meet a strapping young sailor who will take me on adventures, and life will be blissful. I snort. You read too many fantasy romance novels. She grabs a pillow and throws it at me, hitting me in the face. Well, at least I can dream. You don't need to go around squashing them. I swallow hard, the memory of Adric haunting me every single moment. There's something off about him, but I can't place my finger on what it is. All I know is, I don't really want to marry him, no matter how handsome he is. What is Adric like? Lila asks. Handsome, cold, animalistic. Even in his suit and tie and groomed to perfection, the man didn't fool me. He's savage and feral beneath it all. The kind of man that stops at nothing to get what he wants, and that's what I fear the most about him. Not nice, I say, shaking my head. I've never met a man whose eyes are so detached in all my life. And I've met some pretty fucked up people. Lila shudders. Do you think he'll be cruel? I've been wondering the same thing myself. Everything about him seemed forced and unnatural, as if he's not really human. A shudder races down my spine as I remember the way it felt when he grabbed my hips on the way down to the lake. He left small bruises I noticed when I showered earlier. I sense he's going to be a brutal lover, which is scary, considering I'm a virgin. The only good thing to come out of our meeting was that he doesn't care if I want to continue my studies. It's difficult to say, I shrug. Although, he said I can continue medical school. That's good then. Lila sits up straighter. As you've worked so hard to get where you are. I nod in reply, as it's the only good thing that came out of my meeting with my husband-to-be. He even ruined my best dress, thinking we were being shot at when it was Tiago fucking about. I'm not sure anything else about being hitched to Adric Volkov will be good, though. I wonder why Papa is waiting for 2 months to get you two married, Lila asks. I shrug. Beats me, but I'd gladly put it off for 2 years. She chuckles. Suggest it to Papa. There's a sadness in her eyes. It won't be too bad, though. At least you'll stay in Chicago so we can see each other all the time. I shake my head. Hopefully. I can't help but feel a heaviness in my chest, as I'm not sure it'll be so easy. Not to mention, at some point Lila will be married off, and there's nothing to say she'll end up in Chicago. He doesn't seem like the kind of man to care what I do with my free time. I hate how depressed this news has made me, and that this is my fate, no matter what I say or do. Adric's expectations of our marriage were rather basic and depressing, but exactly what I expected. You will provide me with an heir, and you'll keep out of my way most of the time. I think keeping out of his way will be a blessing. It's so unfair that Elias and our brothers get to choose who they end up with, I say, gazing at the family photo of all of us hanging on the wall. Lila nods. Yeah, especially as Elias is a fucking asshole. I laugh at that. Who's this girl he's engaged to anyway? Natalia Gurin, she shrugs. She's real nice and has been bullied by Elias since he arrived at SA. Her brow furrows. I don't get why she agreed to marry him. Weird, I say. It is hard to believe that Uncle agreed to their match so easily. But then, Elias isn't in line for anything. He's behind all of us in terms of claiming the throne. Lila jumps to her feet. We should stop moping around and go out for something to eat. I arch a brow. I'm not really feeling up to it. She shakes me a little. You have 2 months of freedom, so you need to seize it by the balls. I can't help but smile at her enthusiasm. Is that right? She nods. Yep, we're going to get something to eat and have fun. And do you believe Papa will allow us out at night? A sly smirk twists onto her lips. Who says he has to know? I roll my eyes, as Lila has always been a rule breaker. I love her for it, though. Okay, let me hop in the shower and get dressed, she squeaks. You're the best! I sigh heavily and drag myself off the bed, knowing that she's right. If I don't enjoy my last 2 months of freedom, I'll regret it. We're sitting eating our meal at La Vella, an upmarket Italian restaurant in central Chicago, when a guy I don't recognize sits down next to Lila. Hey, fancy seeing you here. Lila's cheeks flush as she glances at him. Hey, Luca. A sense of unease prickles across the back of my neck. Who is your friend? He smirks and holds a hand over the table to me. Luca Morone. My gut twists as although the cartel hasn't picked a side in the war, I know that my engagement to Adric Volkov suggests my uncle is on the Russian side. Nice to meet you, I say, keeping my voice even as I shake his hand. Luca is the youngest Morone, and rumor has it the most unpredictable. He shot Spartak Volkov during his wedding to Luca's cousin, Amalia. "What are you doing so far from home?" he asks, eyes fixed on Lila. Lila swallows hard and shrugs. "Having fun since I just got home for spring break?" Luca nods, eyes fixed on my sister. "How is it at the academy?" She shrugs. "Same old." I haven't seen my sister so freaking quiet before in all my life. She avoids meeting his gaze and looks a little uncomfortable. "If you don't mind, we're having some sister bonding time." I give him a pointed look. He smirks and holds his hands up in surrender. "Of course, Eliza. I wouldn't want to intrude." This is why we shouldn't have snuck out tonight. Enemies are around every corner, and it's why our papa tells us we can't go out alone after dark. He leans toward Lila and whispers something in her ear, making her blush a darker red. I narrow my eyes, ready to punch him if he tries something. And then he smiles at me, standing. "Good meeting you," he nods. "Have a good night." He walks away, leaving me staring at my sister and wondering how she knows the youngest Morone son. "What the hell was that?" I ask once he's out of earshot. She shrugs. "We knew each other at the academy." It makes sense since Luca is only a few years older than Lila. However, there was something else about that encounter. "Do you like him?" Her eyes widen as she looks at me. "What?" I said, "Do you like him?" She shakes her head. "Don't be crazy, Eliza. He's a Morone." That doesn't answer my question, but I decide it's best not to push her. If Lila doesn't want to tell me about Luca, then I know it's useless trying to get her to talk. I finish off my chocolate brownie and huff, clutching my stomach. I'm so fucking full. Lila laughs. "I told you that dessert was too much." I glare at her. "You know that my eyes are always bigger than my stomach. Shall we find somewhere to grab a few drinks?" I raise a brow at her. "You realize you're underage, right?" She pouts. "You can buy them, please." "Fine, but not too many." Her face lights up at my agreement, and I signal the server for our bill. Once settled up, I stand and we both walk out of La Vella and head south toward the bars. "Where shall we go?" I ask. Lila shrugs. "Beats me. You live in this city." I may live here, but I rarely go out. Most of the time I'm too busy studying, but spring break has coincided with the academy's spring break, which doesn't always happen. Since the academy runs on its own schedule, we'll have to take our pick. Lila comes to a stop outside of a swanky bar with a dance floor called Podolka. "How about this place?" I glance at it, the name ringing a bell, but I'm not sure why. "Does that name seem familiar to you?" She shrugs. "I don't know, should it?" I shake my head, unable to work out where I've heard it before. No idea. Okay, let's go in. The bouncers let us straight in with hardly a second glance at Lila, even though she's only just turned 18. As we get inside, the music is loud and it's more of a club than a bar. "I'll go and get us drinks. You find a table," I shout. Lila nods and finds a table near the back as I fight my way through the crowd to the bar. It's busy, and I don't really feel comfortable, as I can feel guys leering at me. I've never been a clubbing kind of girl, but I know Lila loves dancing. When I get to the front of the bar, a man not much older than me comes over. His eyes dip to my cleavage. Pig. "What can I get you, sweetheart?" "2 daiquiris, please." He nods and turns away to get our drinks. I clutch hold of a $20 bill, ready to hand it to him. I hate being out of my comfort zone. $15, darling, he says, setting the 2 drinks down on the counter. I pass him the 20. "Keep the change," I say, grabbing the 2 drinks and turning to search for my sister. He says something in response, but I'm already gone. making my way toward the table she found near the back. She smiles when she sees me. That was quicker than I expected. I turn my nose up. The bartender was a flirt, so he served me first. One of the perks of being a young and beautiful woman. One of very few, I say in response, still unable to shake off the heaviness of the events of the day. Lila sips her drink and gazes at the dance floor. Is it too early for me to force you onto it? She knows I hate dancing. It's not my thing, but I always give in when I've had enough to drink. Let me finish this drink and then ask again. Do you think we'll be able to visit Mom soon? Lila asks, looking me in the eye. I swallow hard, as it's been 3 years since Papa last allowed us to visit her in Mexico. It sucks that she lives there and we live here, but she's on America's no-fly list. Our mother is as ruthless as our Papa, perhaps more so. The things she's done landed her on a list that meant when we moved to North America, she couldn't come. It suited Papa since they were already separated, and she went to live with Don Pablo, Papa's cousin. I have no idea. I run a hand across the back of my neck. I doubt it, considering I'm going to be married off in 2 months. When did you last speak to her? Lila asks. It's been at least 6 months since I spoke to her on the phone. 9 for me. Our mother isn't exactly very maternal. She's rarely been there for us, and I know it's been hardest on Lila. As she's younger, and we left Mexico when she was 12 years old, I was 18 and so didn't need her the same. In a way, I stepped in to be the mother figure that Lila so desperately craved. But it couldn't be the same. I down the rest of my drink. Come on then, let's dance. Lila's expression morphs into elation as she jumps to her feet. You're the best. I laugh and let her drag me onto the dance floor, swaying my hips to the music. Although I don't like dancing, I can't deny that it's the most freeing sensation in the world. That, and making my baby sister happy, is all I care about. As we dance, a couple of guys notice us and move in. My stomach churns, as it's always the same in these places. There's no getting away from the assholes wanting to grind up against you. Hey, pretty lady, the taller one says to me, grabbing my hips as if he has the right to touch me. I narrow my eyes at him. Did I say you could touch me? He chuckles. So uptight. Relax. I try to push him away. I'm dancing with my sister. I glance over at Lila to see she's being harassed by the shorter guy with blonde hair. Let go of me! Suddenly, the man is dragged backward and the figure behind him punches him hard in the face, repeatedly, until blood runs down his chin. My heart pounds unevenly in my chest as the man drops him and I look into his eyes. Adric Volkov is standing there, staring at me with barely contained rage burning in his hazel eyes. Blood splattering his knuckles and his white dress shirt. I feared him when he was cold and detached, but right now, I don't know how to describe the man I'm staring at. Because he's not a man. He's a beast. An angry beast that looks like he wants to tear me apart, limb from limb. Adric. I'm sitting at my usual table in the VIP section of Podolka, on the mezzanine floor, watching people coming and going. It feels good being a spy inside the walls of my enemy's home. Little does my family know that they've always had a spy living with them. My uncle is such a hothead, he believes his brother is working against him, which is not a ridiculous notion, since my father has always resented the fact that Spartak wears the crown. I stand and lean over the railings of the mezzanine as 2 young girls walk through the entrance. My heart stills for a moment in my chest as I recognize one of them, as it's my fiancé, who I only met earlier today. What the fuck is she doing in Podolka? I clench my fist by my side and track her as she fights her way through the crowd to the bar. Men gawk at her as if she's fucking fair game, and it makes my blood boil. I grind my teeth and watch as Zakar, the bartender, stares at her cleavage as she orders her drinks. She's wearing a revealing dress which cuts off just before her knees and fits her like a second skin, leaving nothing to the imagination. It's not how I expect my fiancé to dress when she's out at a club. Surely she knows it will draw unwanted attention. My gaze moves back to the girl she entered with, a girl who looks remarkably like her, so I can only assume it's her sister, Lila. I watch Eliza as she moves through the crowd with 2 drinks and goes to join her sister. My eyes narrow as I watch them. If she thinks she can walk into my uncle's club and parade around in front of me, she has another thing coming. I grip the mezzanine railing so tight my knuckles go white. My match with Eliza is, of course, a secret. Thankfully, none of my family are here tonight, but the place is crawling with Bratva members. I make my way toward the stairs, intending to confront my bride-to-be and ask why she's here. When I get to the ground floor, I find she's already left her seat and is dancing with her sister. Motherfucker. For a moment, I'm frozen as I watch her. The way her hips sway so naturally to the beat of the music has me mesmerized. I feel that same irritating tingling ignite low in my stomach, and my pants become tighter across my crotch, making me clench my fists. What the fuck is that all about? I shake my head, trying to ignore the sensation. And then I see Igor and Eric move toward the 2 girls with predatory looks on their faces. I run a hand through my hair, knowing that this is about to get ugly. Those 2 are lowlives in the Bratva, and I will not tolerate either of them laying a hand on what is mine. Igor is the idiot who goes for Eliza, grabbing her hips. Before I can even rethink my actions, a red haze clouds my vision, and I find I'm acting on autopilot, marching toward them. Eliza turns tense as he touches her, a sight I'm thankful to witness as she tries to push him away. "Let go of me," I hear her say, just as I grab Igor by the shoulder and yank him away from her. I slam my fist into his face over and over, the rage inflicting my blood. The anger so overwhelming I'm not sure how many times I hit him. People on the dance floor gasp and move away, but I'm so wrapped up in my rage I can't stop. As blood drips down his face, I finally reel it in. When I look up, Eliza is staring at me with wide, fearful eyes. I grab a handkerchief out of my pocket and wipe the blood from my knuckles before advancing toward her. Despite the chaos swirling inside of me, I remain calm. "Follow me, your sister as well." I turn then and walk away from the bloodied and bruised Igor, glancing at Eric. "Sort him out." Eric pales and nods. "Of course, Audric." I lead the 2 girls into a private back room and shut the door once they're inside, locking it to be certain no one follows. My heart is pounding, and there are few things get my heart going like that. It appears having someone touch what is mine is a surefire way to drive me wild with anger. When I turn to face the girls, they're both cowering away from me. "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" Eliza licks her lip, and while it's just a nervous reaction, it has that same unwanted effect on me. "We were having a girls' night out," she says simply. I tilt my head. "And you wandered into the club owned by my uncle?" Her eyes widen then, and she shakes her head. "We didn't." "Silence," I say, keeping my voice even. "You come in here dressed like a fucking whore," Lila gasps. "How dare you?" I said silence, I growl, my rage overwhelming me. Eliza places a gentle hand on Lila's arm and shakes her head. "Quiet, sister," Lila falls silent but crosses her arms over her chest, glaring at me hatefully. I'm thankful I'm marrying Eliza and not Lila, as I sense she wouldn't be so easy to handle. Clearly, she has no idea who she is dealing with. You belong to me as of today, Eliza. I step closer, a tingling sensation in my fingers as the desire to grab her washes over me. Although I resist the urge and stop when I'm a foot away, tilting my head. We're engaged to be married, which means after tonight, you won't go out to clubs or dance with other men. My eyes drop to her full cleavage and the dress she's wearing, making desire coil through my gut. In fact, you'll not dress like that ever in public unless I'm with you. Do you understand? Her chin rises in defiance and she looks me straight in the eye. Until we're married, you don't have a say over what I do. Wrong answer. I move for her, wrapping my hand around her throat and squeezing tightly. Listen to me, baby girl. Her pulse quickens the moment my hand is on her. My lips graze the edge of her face as the rage takes control of me, wrapping its tendrils around my heart like a vice. If you don't listen, then I'll have to ensure your father brings the wedding up to 1 week's time. Is that what you want? Lila grabs my arm in an attempt to stop me. Let her go! I shrug her off easily. Is that what you want? I repeat my question. Eliza can't speak because I'm cutting off her airways, so she just shakes her head. I release her then. I didn't think so. I pace a few feet away from her and get a handle on my urges to take her right here and now in front of her sister to prove a point. You'll go home now before I call your father and tell him what you've been up to. When I turn around, Eliza is glaring at me with hate in her eyes. Good. It's best she learns to hate me sooner rather than later. I won't be her ally in our life, and the quicker she comes to terms with it, the better for the both of us. She will be my little pet that I'll use and abuse to provide me with an heir, and nothing more. Fine. Eliza links arms with Lila and walks her past me, nudging into me on purpose. I grab her arm and look into her eyes. Don't make me have someone tail you, Eliza. I will do it. Her nostrils flare, but she bows her head in submission and then unlocks the door, leaving me reeling in my haze of anger. I'm surprised at how angry it made me, seeing her touched by another man. Possessiveness isn't something I'm used to, since I normally just fuck prostitutes. Eliza belongs to me, and that makes it different. I won't stand by while another man touches what is mine. I pace the floor of the warehouse I rented out, waiting for Budimir to arrive. Today is the day we take everything from Hernandez and leave him broken. The son of a bitch thought he could agree to a meeting with the Russians behind my back and not tell me. It's been 2 weeks since he introduced me to his daughter and agreed on our deal. But now he's considering backing out? For a week I've been followed, not only by the Irish, but by Italians and Russians. They all know I'm up to something, which means I'm running out of time. If Hernandez had any common sense, he would have realized I'd learned the truth from the men loyal to me within the Bratva. It means I have to move my plans forward. But everything has been in place for a while, ready to go in case of an emergency like this. I'm sorry I'm late, Budimir says. I shake my head. Is everything arranged? He nods. Of course. The priest is already waiting at the church. We need to take Eliza from her home. Perfect. I clap him on the back. Let's make a move. 3 of my men are already sitting in the van. All of them are Bratva members, but their loyalty lies with me. I get into the passenger seat and then glance at them. Are you guys ready? This could get pretty fucking crazy. Always, Pyotr says. The other two nod in reply. I glance at Budimir. Let's do this. The journey to the Estrada mansion is cloaked in tense silence, as we all know what we're about to do is borderline insane. If it pays off, it will prove the greatest achievement of my life. We come to the gates and I lean over to speak into the intercom. Audric Volkov here to see Eliza. I already called ahead to confirm that I'd be coming by to visit my fiancé. Of course, sir. He buzzes me in. Easy as fucking stealing candy from a baby. Budimir drives up the long, sweeping driveway and parks in front of the door. I turn to him. I will go in alone to see Eliza and try to convince her to come with me. I tap the intercom on my jacket. If things go south, you come in and get me. He nods. Got it. I pat him on the shoulder and exit the vehicle. Everything hinges on Eliza and getting her down that aisle today. We have a short window of opportunity, which means I have to work fast. I ring the doorbell and tap my foot impatiently on the sandstone steps. The housekeeper answers. How may I help you? I'm here to see Eliza. It's Audric Volkov. She bows her head. Certainly, sir. Come inside. I step past her and into the Castlea castle that in less than a couple of hours should belong to me. I'll fetch Miss Estrada. I wait in the hallway, thankful she's bringing her to me, so close to the escape route. It will make taking her that much easier. After waiting 2 excruciating minutes, Eliza comes down the stairs in a beautiful flowing summer dress that ends at her ankles. She's wearing a pair of sandals on her feet, and her hair is down in long sweeping waves. I apologize. Papa forgot to mention you were coming, she says, stopping a safe distance from me. I shake my head. I told him earlier, I am taking you out. Out? She asks, eyebrow arching. I nod in reply. Yes, I thought it would be a good way to get to know each other better. Her eyes narrow. Why do we need to get to know each other when you've already made your expectations clear? It's a smart question, a question I don't know how to answer. It is what is expected. Your father suggested it. She sighs heavily and nods. Fine. I can feel elation bubbling in my stomach as she steps toward the front door. This is going to be easier than I expected. I take her arm gently and open the front door. You look exquisite today. Her cheeks flush a little. Thank you. A blushing bride on her wedding day. I lead her to the passenger side of the van and open the door. This is my driver, Budimir. She smiles at him, still totally unaware of the plot that's underway. Nice to meet you. He smiles back at her. And you, miss. I slide in next to her as she takes her place in the center seat, unaware that there are 3 armed men sitting in the back, ready to strike if she tries anything. So, she says, glancing at me, where are we going? I smile. A church. Her brow furrows slightly as Budimir turns over the ignition, starting the engine, and drives down the driveway toward the exit. What kind of church? A beautiful one, designed by a Russian architect. I squeeze her thigh gently. I thought we could look at prospective wedding venues. Oh, she says, nodding. I'm not sure Papa will negotiate on that, though. He'll want a Catholic church for the wedding. I see. Well, it's worth having a look, isn't it? I ask. Budimir drives right through the gates and onto the street, and still Eliza is unaware that I have kidnapped her. The men in the back remain silent. I guess, she says, twirling a piece of her hair around her finger. Everything is slowly falling into place. Within half an hour, Eliza Estrada will be Eliza Volkov, and we'll be on our way to claim the crown, no matter the costs. Victory is sweet. Eliza. I feel on edge as I sit between Adric and Budimir. There's something about Adric's demeanor that feels off, and I'm regretting getting into this van with him. I twirl my long hair around my fingers, unable to do anything else to calm my nerves. Budimir stops outside an ornate-looking church near the center of the city and turns off the engine. We're here, Adric says, opening the passenger's door and hopping out. He doesn't offer his hand to help me, so I climb down by myself, stumbling a little onto the road. His arm goes around my waist to support me. Careful, baby girl. You don't want to ruin that beautiful dress, do you? A shiver races down my spine, as that's not the first time he's called me baby girl. He did it in that room at the back of the Russian-owned club. I knew the name Podolka was familiar, and once he appeared, I realized why. That was 2 weeks ago, and then suddenly he appears at my door today. It all feels a little off, but I'm not